Good evening, everyone. I received this question recently and a few on the same theme, so I thought it would be nice to explore this subject. These questions, I think, have come about because of the global pandemic and the collective fear that has arisen over the last year as a result of it. So the lady says, I like your approach and Rameshji's approach that all is God's will. However, a particular teacher and others are teaching that the disasters at the end of the kaliyuga will be very soon, and everyone except the enlightened will be protected. The others will perish. I've been surrendering to God my whole life, but I am not enlightened. I think I need to open my heart, but have been doing my best. Do you have any input? Thank you. You see, this question about everyone except the enlightened will perish, or put in another way, the enlightened will be protected, the rest will perish. The whole point is, how do we know what's good for us? How do we really know what is good for us? Whether it is worth being in a world which has been struck by massive disasters one after another, in a crazy apocalyptic scenario perhaps, would that be life worth living? Is that the kind of protection that being enlightened would give us so we can live the rest of the years of our lives, whatever they may be, on a planet in that condition? Why is it that we always feel that we are better off alive? Perhaps it could be the other way around. The point is, we don't know. We don't know. And when we accept through the teaching of Advaita and through the grace that comes with the teaching, that whatever happens is God's will, whether we like it or not, this compulsion to stay alive starts losing its grip on us. To stay alive at all costs. Of course, it's a natural trait that arises, biological as well as psychological. The ego wants to survive. It is but natural if they are loved ones and so on and so forth. But the beauty of the teaching of Advaita is the basic tenets that whatever has to happen will happen. And one never knows what the next moment brings. Sometimes pleasure, many times pain. So what if we were left on this planet to lead a very painful rest of our lives? Would that be a life worth living? So with the deepening of the understanding, these kind of questions start dropping away. Yet there is so much sincerity in this question. Where the lady says, I've been surrendering to God my whole life, but I'm not enlightened. And this is what my spiritual teacher would almost, you could say, he had to battle with in his satsangs, because everyone had this glorious definition of enlightenment which varied from person to person. And therefore he would ask, what do you expect enlightenment to give you that you did not have before? And many of them could not answer that question. And then he would provide the answer by saying, all that enlightenment will give you is peace of mind. So if one has been surrendering to God, if one is trying to surrender to God, and so on and so forth, and as she says, but I am not enlightened, let's keep the word aside. Let's keep the label aside. The sincerity of the quest for peace in surrendering to God, in making the effort, that itself, in fact, is not our doing. Making the effort itself is not our doing. It is a happening. And lastly, I think I need to open my heart, but have been doing my best. You see, that's all we can do. All we can do is our best. And the outcome, the result is not in our control. The acceptance of this fact is what provides peace. So, with this teaching, while concern may arise about potential scenarios, ghastly, devastating scenarios that may appear in the future, the near future, which could be 1,000 years from now, 10,000 years from now, or tomorrow. We will never know. We have never known. So while concern may arise, it does not become an overriding factor in our daily living. The thinking mind is no longer engaged in this battle to survive in an imaginary future. And as she says in the beginning of her question, I like your approach that all is God's will. You see, it's not about liking it. It is about looking at your own life, looking at the major events in your life that have transpired and how much control you had over them. Or did they happen to you? And that is why Rameshji would say, we are not living our lives, but rather we are being lived. We are being lived by the source. Thank you.